Okay, hi everyone. My name is Christian, a member of the Essex Startups team. Thank you for attending the next event in our series of Environment Week. Today with me, we've got Lottie from CASP and David from Mindset, who will be both talking about their businesses and their take on environment and sustainability. So we'll have David going off first. So David, would you like to introduce yourself and take it over the presentation?
Lovely, thank you, Christian. Yeah, my name's David Atto. I'm the IoT Development Director at Mindset. A bit about myself, I've been in industry around property for the likes of Prezzo, for commercial properties, and also Vodafone. Quite a bit of experience, and I now find myself at Mindset, and of which Mindset is a brand name for Cloud FM. And Cloud FM, we deliver maintenance solutions for the likes of Pizza Express, KFC, railway companies, when their hard assets break, so a pizza oven, deep fat fryer, when these things break, we are the maintenance solution for them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Mindset being the brand, and what that brand has been set up to do is to utilize IoT to better save waste across our client base. So let me share my screen and I'll take you through a very short journey. Or it's not working because I haven't got system access.
It wouldn't be a proper event if something didn't go wrong.
Of course, try and understand it.
It would not be a real online event, would it?
No, right, there we go. Let's try and figure this one out. Security and privacy. Unfortunately, it's not allowing me access. There's the problem going to Zoom when I'm used to Teams.
If you would like to, you can ping the slides over to me and I can try to...
Yeah, that might work better. Let's try and do that then.
Let me just send you my email. Do give us a second, everybody, or just a little technical hiccup. Cool. So you got that in the chat if you could quickly pop.
No worries, I'll send it over now.
We ran an event yesterday as well. And I think it was right off the bat from the beginning, the designated host for the event. The signal was perfect before the start of the event. And as soon as the event starts, it just starts stuttering. I'm like, is it my connection?
Always the way, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah. An interesting age we live in.
Right, it's on its way to hopefully get across.
How do you find working from home and adjusting to the new conditions, by the way, David? What do you think of the new normal, as it were?
Yeah, it's interesting. My role has been, I work from home anyway in my role, so it hasn't been that much of a change other than children populating the house more often than not. That's which has its own challenges. But no, it's interesting to understand. So we've got a team of 23 in our IoT division, and yeah, they all come from different backgrounds, all have different setups, and it's been really quite a challenge for some of them to actually, focus on work, focus on life. And so we're actually in the state now where there is no 9 to 5 in our company anymore. It's just a case of it's about outputs. So what work you've been tasked to do, can you deliver it, and how you deliver it, whether you want to work when your kids are in bed, then that's fine.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting journey, and I think a lot of companies are finding this now, that the commercial retail space and the 9 to 5 is a thing of the past.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, and I personally think it's the future. The only problem is that when it comes to it, it's also difficult to catch someone. When you need someone to do something for you, and you're like,
yeah.
So, oh yeah, he works nights now.
Still trying to figure my system preferences, but it's just not allowing it. I think we've had an upgrade to our security. It's not allowing it for some reason on Zoom. But the email has just been sent over to you, Christian.
Awesome. I'll bring that up and then we can kick off. But yeah, I feel like I guess it's lucky for you then that you didn't have to pivot. But I think for a lot of people that started working from home initially, where they were like, "Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this." I feel like now, as we'll slowly come out of it, they'll be like, "No, I actually, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to, feel like that will be the struggle next."
Yeah, of course.
There's a certain amount of comfort in getting out of bed at 8:45 to get into a 9 a.m. meeting, isn't there?
Yeah, right. There's a few that have had meetings whilst in bed still, so that's all right. Just cameras are off.
Just have like the top of the suit that are hanging next to your bed.
Yeah. Okay. Has that come through, Christian?
Not yet, no.
Definitely been sent from my end. Okay, it is a rather large file.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect. Sorry for the delay, people.
Yeah, I mean, it's all worth it. It's all.
Well, we'll see at the end, right?
Good things are worth waiting on, as the old. Oh. Now, if I go, what is it that you all can see? Can you see the?
Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
Okay. No? Yes?
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, is it all good? Yeah. Okay.
Just hasn't started playing yet, but don't mind if that doesn't happen. Yeah, we're just seeing sort of the base package of it, but that's okay if you want to just scroll through that, Christian. That's
okay, cool.
So yeah, get back to it. So at Mindset, we've set up an IoT division where we're using the Internet of Things and our own sensors to manage ourselves, our own app software and platform to be able to retrofit sensors to assets of our current clients so that we can monitor the harmonics of assets, the energy output of assets, and hopefully save them a bit more time and effort. So if you want to jump on a couple of slides to slide 3, just to go a bit about us, just to want to demonstrate really that that Mindset is wholly owned by Cloud FM, and these are sort of customers that we're working with at the minute. And we've got quite a diverse portfolio, especially around the likes of McDonald's. That is, their trade is absolutely through the roof at the minute, and it's all about customer service, customer satisfaction, getting burgers out and chips out as quick as they can, to the likes of the NHS, where they've been overrun with COVID, with sicknesses and a reduced staff load, but still having to deliver, the due care and attention that they need to. And then we also work with the likes of schools, universities, and KFCs of the world. So that's where we're working with. And if you go on to the next slide, it just shows a bit about our purpose. Is that what we've noticed with working all of these customers, that there's a lot of waste in these companies. There's waste around wasted money, wasted time and effort, wasted resources that doesn't need to happen. If you're working for a KFC, and you throw away bucketloads of chicken because your fridge failed, that's no good. If you're spending time cleaning assets as opposed to serving customers, that's no good. And we know that there's waste, but we also want to support our clients' journeys around being sustainable. You know, being able to hit a net zero target, being able to manage and understand where energy can be better focused. So going on to the next slide, this sort of validates the reason for our business purpose, is that the Committee on Climate Change released a report in 2019 that said to get to 2040 net zero for the UK, we're going to have to invest in technology and we're going to have to change behaviours. But they said the combination of technology and behaviours will get the biggest bang for our buck. We'll get hit 53% of that target of net zero if technology and behaviours works together. And that's what we're trying to do with Mindset. We're trying to educate behaviours. It's not about giving them the technology and walking away. It's about saying, here's the technology, here's what it's telling you and why you must take action. So going to the next slide. Looking at our clients. So if you think of hospitals, every hospital in the UK, there's 1,257 hospitals in the UK. Each one of them is different uniquely, from the number of patients that walk through the door, to the size, square footage, to the amount of money it takes to run it. And it's the same for every restaurant you go into. You know, McDonald's, KFCs, they try to have a standard look and feel, but it's still, trade is different. The amount of money they make is different. And we try to take the data to a better degree of detail. So they look at their half-hourly billing data and they try to say, I know that there's energy being utilized when the restaurant is shut. And we're trying to say, we can see actually physically which asset is on when it shouldn't be on. Why are you turning a pizza oven on at 9 AM in the morning when you're not serving pizza until midday? So it's about taking IoT down to the asset level. Looking at the next slide there, is we like to sort of guarantee outcomes for the people that are working. So if you think about a McDonald's restaurant, you know, the site manager needs to know that he's have to do his compliance checks every 4 hours. So how does he, instead of having a bit of paper to write the compliance checks down, he uses an application of ours that says you need to then check that one, your assets are working, two, they're working as they should be doing, and there's no health and safety issues. And end of the day, he wants to say, do you know what, are your assets still running, or can you turn them off? Can you reduce consumption? Can you reduce your carbon footprint? And being given them that information live to an app that says, well done, you've turned everything off, you've therefore saved the equivalent of 4 trees. Fantastic. And it actually, that impacts your bonus as well. So it's given the site managers actual access to information around sustainable change. On to the next slide. This just highlights what it is that we've tried to do at Mindset. You know, you can go to the market and buy some IoT hardware to put on an asset. You can go to the market and buy a dashboard, but it's the so what. You know, if you're running a restaurant, if you're running a hospital, you haven't really got time to stop and think about what a dashboard's telling you. So what we try and do is we try and give the information that says, take the action here. We know it's an issue, there's a problem, there's waste happening, therefore do something about it. It's that actionable insight that is key. So what we've done at Mindset, we've developed 4 key products. So go on to the next slide for me. I'm calling it a journey. And the journey would always start with energy. It's about turning the data that our IoT is telling us into action. It's about ensuring that we've got a clear, structured plan to reduce energy, measure it, and a plan to reduce it, and then ultimately shout about it. You want to have that corporate social responsibility that you put on your website that says, we've done this. We knew that we were spending, for an example, a school spends about £120,000 on electricity, and now they're spending £60,000 because of the work they're doing on measuring their carbon footprint. It's then about compliance and risk. So again, you know, it's about understanding, are things breaking? You know, are we doing the checks around our fridges? So again, we're working with some COVID-19 vaccination clinics, and they got vaccines in their fridges. They need to ensure that those fridges are working at 24/7. Of course, they're not in the centres over the weekend, so can we monitor it remotely via an app? And that's what we're providing. And then predictive maintenance. You know, again, if an asset is working inefficiently, it's wasting energy. You know, it's not doing what it should be doing, and it might break. And so we're monitoring an asset for failure. We're monitoring an asset that might be consuming more energy than it should be doing, and we're providing that information to those on the front end staff. And then it's about environment, creating that environment for customers to be able to enjoy their experience. The next slide gives a better visual of what we're achieving. This is an example of a McDonald's or a KFC. You can see where our solutions fit in. So if you're a customer, you're coming through the door, you know, the customer can understand, first of all, someone's walked through the door. They can understand what the temperature is at that front of house restaurant. We can ensure that the screens are working, and we can ensure that everything is on as it should be doing for that customer journey. Now we can look at back of house and making sure that everything's working as it should be doing, and being able to tell them what isn't working and how they can take action. And the key part of this is that everything on that screen is basically consuming energy. So it's about giving them the understanding and the behaviors that say, should it all be on? Does it all need to be on? If there are no customers, what can we turn off? And what will that saving be? The next slide just shows a bit more about how our product works. So in your own house, in any kind of building, there's going to be assets, whether it's a fridge, whether it's your heating and ventilation, whether it's hot water. And it's about retrofitting sensors to these assets, feeding that information via a gateway to our cloud, to our AI, that will then start predicting how those assets should be performing and monitoring it, and then providing information via an app or an analytical dashboard, if you want that, about taking action. So I'll go on to the next page for me. It just gives you a bit of visibility around, that's the hardware creating. So that top right is our gateway, and the small device is a sensor. There's a room sensor, so that senses temperature, air pressure, humidity of a room. And it's all built on an agnostic platform. So a lot of our clients are saying, we want to save energy, but how can you integrate it into our own system? And we can do that through APIs, and we can make sure that we don't have to always use the information we use, or the app that's on the next page, please, Christian, that will say, here's how I need to take action. And this is our point now. We've done a lot. We've invested in the University of Essex previously. We've got a PhD student who's an expert in behavioural science. And he's been working with all of our customers to understand, why is it you want to take action around energy? And they've identified that if you look at it in the bottom, you've got a app there, you've got like a speedometer. And that is a really key driver. They're saying that we like that, because say we give them a target for a week to save X amount of energy, X amount of kilowatt hours. That tool, they're saying, is really good. And we've gamified the app. So we've made it more interactive for them. They can win awards or win badges. And they can also see how, so if you're a KFC restaurant, you've got another 1,000 KFCs across the UK. So how do you compare against others? And it becomes a league table for regional, countrywide, and then UK wide as well. So it's become really interesting, and it's become a key measure. And we found that the head office staff are really using this, and they're actually bonusing their staff on energy reduction and performance, which has been more of a take up than we actually thought than we realized. And all we're doing is we're not showing them from the graph before where all their assets are turning energy off. We're just showing them where the key assets are, and timing it as to when things should be off. So what I mean by that, for example, at the end of the day, a Pizza Express will shut its doors at 11 p.m. By 11:30, the dishwasher's been on, they've closed up, they've tidied up, and they're walking out the building. But we know when they walk out the building, and we'll send them a notification saying, you haven't turned the light off, you haven't turned the heating and ventilation system off, and there's an oven left on. And that's a ping notification that they have to acknowledge. And then that notification then becomes a reporting tool and says, great, you've actioned that, therefore you've saved money, or you haven't actioned it, and therefore you come back in the morning and you've lost X amount of money, and that gets reported on, and that dial swings. So it's been really, really interesting. If you move on to the next slide for me, it just talks about how we work with operations on the front desk. But then let's move on to the next one. So I just want to talk about our AI. Thanks, Christian, on this one. So this one is
making notes as we go along, actually.
Oh, no worries, no worries. I'll take lots of questions at the end, absolutely. This is just showing what we do with the data. You know, we use Kafka as our platform tool. So all the data comes in from the assets via the building. We know that it's a specific make fridge within a restaurant, comes through to our AI, and we then start predicting what to do with it. So it might be we just got to send a notification, an alert to someone to take action on it. It might be that we liaise with our own maintenance engineers. They've got to go out and do some servicing. It might be that it's around asset use optimization. So it says, you know what, we now know that Pizza Express have 400 restaurants, and we know how all of their pizza ovens are working across all the 400, but there's a few of them that aren't working as they should be doing. Let's focus our attention there. And it's about monitoring that, that predictive asset failure. And all of this is designed to save energy, to stop waste happening. You know, we want to be as efficient as we can be doing. And the benefits are that the customer is saving money, and ultimately it's reducing carbon footprint, which is what we're measuring at the end of the day. If you pop on to the next couple of slides, I don't need to do the next ones. Okay, I want to go into a bit specific on energy. I'm almost done, I'll take all your time. Is that what we're trying to do then as a company is not just deliver the IoT, because we said to our clients to say, great, do the IoT, but what about the rest of it? We don't know what we're consuming. With Pizza Express again, we've got 400 restaurants. How do we know what our carbon footprint is right now? Well, we offer that. We will measure that for you. We will provide you with a report that says this is where you stand right now. We will then reduce your carbon footprint by installing IoT. We can procure your energy. We can green energy for you, and we can then offset it for you. We've got some offset partners as well. And ultimately, we're working with a Future Net Zero Standard founding partner to be able to just offer them basically an entire energy solution and a CSR plan that we can say, we're on it. We know what we're doing. We know our structured plan to net zero. And this is what our clients are finding for us. If you go on to the next slide for us, this is a case study from a Pizza Express that shows you where in the restaurant we can save them 21% of their energy. And it's split down that there's 5% that's being wasted out of hours. So when the restaurant's closed, they've got energy on. The air conditioning unit is working ineffectively. They could save 9.8% on their air conditioning. Their triple deck oven is working when it shouldn't be doing during operating hours, and their fridge and freezers aren't working well. And this is the level of detail we're getting to now, because in your own house and in a lot of places, it's just your half-hourly billing data. So all I could say before that was that at this building, the X amount of energy is being wasted out of hours, but now we can physically get onto each and every single asset and say, this is where the energy is and where you must take action. And it's about changing those behaviors. The next slide is just the IT director at Pizza Express just saying how much he likes what we're doing. But I just want to move on very quickly to compliance and environment, because it's really key. Is that we're working with the COVID-19 sensors, and this is visibility of an app that we're using to help them monitor their refrigeration. It's not much about energy, but it's just something new that we're doing for them, and it's really exciting. But if we move on a couple of slides, I want to go on to the predictive maintenance piece, which should be the last couple of slides. So that's it. So the best in class one. So this, what we're doing with this, the devices that we use for energy also measure harmonics of an asset. And that graph on the right-hand side shows the waveforms that are being put out, or quadratic harmonics from an asset of a hot water pump. And this is a hot water pump in a 70-acre secondary school academy. Now, this hot water pump provides the water for the entire school. Now, we're monitoring that hot water pump for its motor torque, its internal energy, to make sure that pump works efficiently. And when we're modeling that and saying every second, is that true? Is that true? Is that true? Which is what our AI is doing. And if it stops working, we need to take action. Because if it doesn't work out, it should be doing, then it's wasting time and energy for the school. So look at the next one, next slide. This identifies 3 different, it looks like a nice firework, but this is shows 3 separate harmonics of that hot water pump. And it shows, again, motor torque and heat. And what we noticed that the bits highlighted in red are where it didn't work as it should be working. So it's working much harder, drawing more energy, and ultimately failed. And that happened on a Friday night. They came to school on the Monday morning and realized there's no hot water for the school. Now, it's fortunate that the school was closed because of COVID, but what our app does is actually it pinged them a notification on that Friday night and said your pump's failed. And this is where we're trying to get at, because it was pumping out way too much energy before then. It was actually wasting on average about £3,500 a year of wasted energy. And if we'd have got on top of that at this point in time, we could save that amount of energy. So go to the next slide for me, just to summarize, and I thank you very much for listening to me waffle on, is that what we tried to offer people through IoT is just a structured route to net zero. We offer you an opportunity to change behaviors in order to make an impact to the climate and ultimately to save money for your business. And it's about that automated governance and compliance and making sure that assets within whether you're a hospital, a school or a restaurant, that they work as efficiently as they can be doing to enable the behaviors of the person to be focused on the customer or the patient. So thank you all very, very much. I am sorry for technical difficulties, Christian, so thank you for helping me out there. But I really appreciate your time.
I've got a couple of questions, actually. I must say, Really surprised by how comprehensive the business model there is. And I can sort of expect what the answer to this will be. But um, apart from presenting obvious benefit to, for example, the amount of money that people save. So when you work with bigger clients, I assume the sheer amount of money that people save on all of the energy that is essentially going out already justifies the cost of working with your company. But apart from that, do you provide some form of an industry recognized certification, maybe?
Yeah, the accreditation part of it. Yes, this is something we're doing. So the company we're partnered with, we want to be able to say that if you walk into either a KFC or a Pizza Express, so there's something on the door there that says we are carbon neutral, we're using clean air, that side of things, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. So that you know, when you walk into a restaurant, for example, post-COVID, there was a lot of fogging going on in restaurants, wasn't there? So, you know, making sure everything's clean, they're fogging it. And you wanted to make sure that when you walked to a restaurant, everything was clean. And we're providing certification on that. So, yep, it's clean air. And we're on this journey to net zero, and we have saved X amount of tonnages of CO2, and that's exactly what we're trying to do for our clients, and give them that accreditation and some sort of certificate that they can display and shout about on their websites and on their outlets, their buildings.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefit there. I definitely think I'm amazed, like, you know, just by how much it is providing it. And yeah, I say it's comprehensive because I studied psychology, and the sheer fact that, for example, when you have an app and you show how much money did, for example, someone lose just by switching something on, people react more strongly to losing a certain amount of money than they do to like gaining something. Many people would prefer to avoid losing £5 than gaining £5, if that makes sense. So avoiding the loss is much better for us apparently than gaining something, which is
exactly.
ridiculous.
I agree with that, and that's interesting actually. So if you imagine, if you in your own home, if you were to leave everything on overnight, whether it's, you know, the lighting, the toaster, everything, microwave kept going around, whatever, and you knew the cost of that, you'd want to do something about it. So, you know, in the restaurant, if they just leave their air conditioning on overnight, that costs them on average about £6 a night, times 365 days of the year, and then that sort of saving is massive to the business.
Ridiculous, yeah.
What does that equate to in sales? And this is the information and the data we're giving them now, you know, and saying, do you know what, because you left your air conditioning on, you now need to sell another 3 coffees to make up for it. Interesting.
And now another wonderful company in the making, similar in its mission and goals. I know CUSP quite well. I know the founder, or at least one of the founders I know very well. So Lottie, would you like to take it away with your presentation, explain the business model, talk a bit about yourself, talk a bit about the company, because it is also very interesting. And I think that's the whole value of bringing you two together as well, because it's two, they're not the same companies, but it's two, I would say, similar companies with similar goals, definitely different stages, I must say, but that's just where we stand, and I'm sure we'll see CUSP go far anyway. I mean, they've had some successes recently. I hear a lot about that. So yeah, please, Lottie, take it away.
Thank you. Well, thank you, David. That was crazy. Our company is definitely not that complex in terms of technology. In fact, the technology of our company is quite simple. Yeah, actually, well, my name is Lottie. We founded CUSP. I actually went to University of Essex as well, and I funded CUSP along with James right there where you are in the Essex startups. Right there. Yes, so we basically saw the issue of takeout packaging. Mostly, you know, when we founded the company, COVID wasn't a thing. So takeout and, you know, eating out and all of that was a big thing, and it was creating a lot of waste. And we were doing research. We were all very dedicated to the environment. We were doing research, and we found out that actually only 1 in 400 cups gets recycled. So, you know, if you apply that to every other type of packaging, you know, there's not just cups. You know, the amount of waste that we are creating is ridiculous. So we were thinking, what can we do? Because there is environmental packaging out there. There is green packaging out there, but as we always know, sustainability tends to be more costly. And we don't want it to be like this, but obviously plastic is really cheap to produce. So we were thinking of ideas, how can we make this cheap? Because the problem is no longer big companies, because they're turning sustainable. They're all doing their best, because essentially they're losing clients, right? The problem is small businesses, because their profitability is very small. So like the margins are very small. So yeah, they didn't want to turn sustainable. They were going to lose money. So we thought, why don't we combine all of these small businesses together? We create some sort of buying group and use collective power to get cheaper prices on sustainable supplies. So we spent a whole year researching in sustainable packaging and partnering with people to offer discounts to small businesses. The issues we found that I wanted to talk about mostly in this, because we're here in the sustainability ethics, I thought that this was very interesting to talk about, because everyone knows about compostable packaging, and everyone just because it says compostable, it sounds very good, and it is good, essentially. The problem we found is that there's actually only 2 compostable facilities in the UK, and all this packaging is going to a landfill at the end of the day. And when it's in a landfill, it doesn't get oxygen, so it can't biodegrade, and is producing methane. So so the problem is still there. So we were looking for the best alternatives. We found home compostable packaging for the people who have a compost bin. We thought that would be an alternative. We thought about recycling just cups that are completely recyclable and can be recycled. And essentially, what I would like to say to every business is that you have the control to buy something that is being produced in the right way, because you don't know how your customer is going to dispose of this packaging. You can buy packaging that is recyclable, everything, so it can be disposed it can be recycled, right, etc. But you have the opportunity to choose packaging that has been produced in a way that's not harming the environment. So that's what we were focusing on buying from suppliers that are either carbon neutral or almost carbon neutral, using either recycled materials, or we have some bioplastics that are created with sugarcane pulp, but that sugarcane pulp is actually recycled from the sugar industry. So it's being recycled. It's not you're not just using something new. So yeah, I would say that's the most important thing, and part of the whole idea of CUSP. It was to really be careful and cautious. Right now we are working on a market in London. We're trying to handle the sustainability, as well as providing the packaging for every vendor. And yeah, I don't know what else to say right now. This is a little bit of what we do. And as we're a very small startup, we started only last year, and with COVID we've had a pretty rough time, because as we all know, bars, hospitality, they're suffering the most from this, and many bars have closed, many restaurants have closed. So it's been quite a difficult year.
Saying that, I did hear you've been going from contract to contract, so it couldn't have been that bad. I did hear you, yeah.
Yes. Well, we're still working, we're still getting businesses. It's just that, that we hope to grow exponentially, and it has been really slow because of this. Businesses right now they don't really want to spend more money, and even if we're offering a cheaper price, it's still more expensive than plastic. It's just impossible, you know what I mean? So yeah, it is difficult, and I understand, for these businesses right now, losing a few p is it can mean such a difference, a few p a day or a few p a week it can be a difference right now. So yeah.
Well, let's hope that, everything opens up soon. I mean, we're about a month away from having the pubs back, so.
Yeah, no, we are preparing for this. We're kind of like relaunching again, and yeah, we have this market planned, and we're not just doing the packaging. We partner with them, but we're also working for them in a way, and we are handling their waste, and really we want to really create a marketing campaign that so people know where to throw their stuff, and so the market ends up being zero carbon, or as low as possible.
Yeah, I imagine it's quite difficult because with that, you're almost creating a market for yourself when you need to educate people how to recycle. So yeah, quite challenging, I must say. But yeah,
It's quite challenging.
Okay, so I guess that
David.
positive note is where we will slowly draw to a close. We're quickly going to give a few seconds to anyone who may have any sort of questions at all. We're giving you a sort of like a minute to respond. And whilst we wait for that, I'm going to quickly do a plug for our next event in a series. So the next talk from the Environment series is tomorrow. It's literally tomorrow, same time. So we'll be again expecting all of you there. Any last words from you, David, and from you, Lottie?
I've got just something to discuss with Lottie there. Is just that we've been having a lot of conversations within the NHS recently, and what they're saying to us, where cost was always the number one concern, that I think sustainability will soon become the number one concern, and cost will not be. So I think around procuring of sustainable products for the NHS will be a big opportunity for people. But you're right about sort of the high street, is that people are too scared to give away cash, and the way we're working at the minute is trying to offer them solutions that they can either get grants for the IoT or that side of things. But it's just so, you're right, it's just so tricky, isn't it? And I think you're right to get your marketing campaign as right as it can be around that green approach to the CO2 is absolutely key, I think, going forwards now, to get engagement. And my gut feeling is that the back end of 2021 and 2022, building on the work that Greta Thunberg spoke about, the world is going to be about the cyclical use of assets now, isn't it? It's about reusing things. It's not throwing things away, and it's about that fifth revolution that's coming our way. And I think it's due to come soon. And so I'm hoping that that story that both of us are trying to tell, gets its rewards. Yeah,
I am noticing that businesses are realizing that even though it's going to cost a little bit more in the short term, more sales, because everyone's going to look for sustainability. So you're not going to have loyal customers, and you're not going to attract new customers because you're not offering them as much as the business next to you is. You know what I mean? Everyone wants sustainability, and that's what we have to show them, that it seems like you're losing money buying this packaging, or buying buying this AI for energy, etc. But on the long run, you're going to save energy. You're going to get new customers. So your business is going to be more sustainable as a whole. And being sustainable is not just environmental, is, sustaining yourself. Is an economy.
Right story, yeah.
In economy, right?
Yeah, good story. I like that.
I think that's why it's quite amazing. That's why I liked it so much, that mindset does demonstrate that monetary value as well. I think for a lot of businesses, be it for better or the worse, we do live obviously in a competitive, business world, as it were. They want to see the numbers. So that's what I find amazing, is that it can illustrate that environmental impact as well as the numbers, because that way you capture all businesses, and so I like that a lot. Awesome. I like that. A bit of a soppy note, but I like it. All right, so yeah, let's draw this pretty amazing talk, I would say, to a close. Thank you, both of you, for coming. Thank you, David. Thank you, Lottie. Very nice talks, very inspiring as well, I think. Yeah.
No problem. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye-bye.